how the Russians steal your escrow.
So I got an email from a viewer, and this one right here, I've been thinking about it for a hot minute because I wanted to make sure that I address this the right way. So I'm going to read it word for word, and then I probably might break it down for you.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
So the email reads, I had a bad experience with the Russians.
Russians? You should have known.
I was with them for 6 months, and after they collected $3,000 in escrow, everything changed. They just think about themselves and their business, and they don't care shit about us drivers. They push drivers to run illegally, allegedly, just to keep their business good. But not the driver's business, though. They don't care about the driver's business because we're just 1099 contractors. That's it. And when the company just gives you a 1 hour orientation, it's because they don't care about you. You see, the Russians companies are still in business because they adapt new business patterns, especially when they get exposed. And so first, thank you. I appreciate you for sending me that because a lot of drivers, they really need to hear this. And I really want to be careful on how I talk about this because I'm not here to paint every Russian-owned company with the same brush out here. No, drivers. That's not what this is.
It ain't that part of it. It's that other thing.
What this is, drivers, is a pattern, a specific business model that keeps showing up in trucking, and it keeps producing the same results. Drivers get burned, and companies keep getting away with it.
You can't keep getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it.
He won't. So walk with me as I unpack this. $3,000. And the minute the money clears, the whole dynamic shifts. That's not a coincidence. See, the escrow serves two purposes for a company. The obvious one is for financial protection, right? If you leave, wreck a truck, or whatever the case, these companies have a buffer to fall back on. That's where the escrow comes into play. It also comes into play again if you do leave and leave the truck a mess. They're going to use that escrow to clean out that truck. Or if you leave and something later down the line that they find with that truck and they got to fix it, that's when they're going to take the escrow. That's why it takes 45 days in order for your escrow to come back to you in some cases. But the less obvious purpose is for psychological reasons. Once you hand over that $3,000, you're invested. You got skin in this game now.
You in it.
See, what I mean by this, that you got some type of skin in this game, right? You're less likely to walk away from something that feels bad because walking away means that you're potentially leaving money on the table.
Leaving $38,000 on the table.
And you know what? These Russians, they know that. They count on that. You'll notice the attitude change doesn't happen during the recruitment process, right? It doesn't happen during the first week. It only happens after the escrow clears, right? And that timing, drivers, is not accidental. So drivers, here's where it gets important from a legal standpoint. See, when you're classified as a 1099 independent contractor, the company's argument, let me repeat that. The company's argument is that they don't control how you operate, right? You're your own business, you make your own decisions. And that's the theory of it. The practice,
What are we talking about?
practice is something different. What this driver in this email is describing, being pushed to run illegally, allegedly, that's the company trying to extract productivity of an employee while maintaining the legal distance of a contractor relationship. They want the output without the liability. They want you moving their freight up under their terms, on their timeline, generating their money. But listen though, when something goes wrong, they'll point to that 1099, and not only that, they will throw your ass up under the bus while saying that was your call and not ours. See, drivers, that's the con of everything. See, it's not just unique to one trucking carrier though, but it does show up constantly in certain pockets of the industry. And a lot of those pockets right now happen to involve the Russian carriers. See, that data right there, that looks good on the ground for them. The 1099 model in trucking, when used, honestly, is a fine thing. It's great if it's used right. But a lot of the Russian carriers, they do run it the right way though. But when it's being used as a liability shield, while the company is still functionally dictating how you move and operate, well, that's just an abuse of classification. And you want to know who suffers the consequences? The drivers. The drivers are the ones that eat those consequences. Now, drivers, listen, this one hits me because it's true and it's telling. The 1 hour orientation can only mean one or two things. Either the company genuinely doesn't think that they need to prepare you for what you're about to get into, which means they either don't care about you or they just assuming that you already know these things. Or most likely, the orientation isn't designed to prepare you at all. It's just a checkbox. It only exists so they can say that it happened. Think about what a proper carrier orientation actually covers. HOS rules and your specific ELD setup, breakdown procedures and fuel cards, load securement standards, dispatch communication expectations, emergency contacts, customer specific requirements. That alone right there, after I just mentioned, that should last for about 3 hours minimum. And that's even before you should even get in the truck. 1 hour though, 1 hour. You're getting a packet, a handshake, a truck, and they just throw you out to the wolves. And that's it. What they communicate, whether they say it out loud or not, is that they don't expect you to be around long enough to even care about how long you was in orientation. See, to them, you're just a number, and that's it. See, they need that truck moving. They'll deal with whatever happens when it happens. Let's take it back. So here's what I actually think is going on with these type of operations and why they keep surviving. In my opinion, this is just my humble opinion, all right? See, the model isn't complicated. Right? A lot of you drivers make it complicated, but it's really not that complicated when you get intertwined with the Russians. See, this is how it works. You recruit a driver, often through word of mouth, in trucking communities, on social media, on Facebook posts, on TikTok, or they got their ads where they are heavy on the money pitch, but light on the fine print. Now that's something to think about. Again, let me say it one more time. They're heavy on the money pitch and they're light on the fine print. Now, when you open up a Facebook post or a Facebook ad or something like that, first thing that you see, drivers can make $3,000 or more. And then when you go down to the bottom and read the fine print, then you'll find out whether that company is what that company is about and what they're offering, right? Let me continue because y'all still need to know because like I said, this ain't complicated, right? They collect the escrow, they put you in the truck, they run you hard, they pay you per mile at the rate that looks okay until the math ain't mathing. And when you guys start to question or push back on anything, see, they either going to pressure you into some compliance or they just going to let you walk away and find the next one. See, what makes this sustainable as a business is the escrow and the driver pool. That's it. They're pulling $3,000 from you drivers, right? Like, is it broken down to like maybe about $200, $300 a week or something like that? See, that alone covers a significant operating cost. And because the truck driver market is, especially in the lease or lease to purchase segment, always have drivers who are new, who are broke, and definitely who are desperate. The new business pattern, when they get exposed line from the email, well, drivers, that is real talk right there. That is real talk. These companies, they don't shut down. These companies, they don't shut down. Nah, when something bad happens, they don't shut down. They don't shut down if they get bad reviews or get talked dirty online. All they do is rebrand. See, all they do is just open up another authority up under a different name. Sometimes they do it up under family members, right? Same owner, same operation, new DOT number, and within weeks, they're right back in business. See, the FMCSA's authority approval process doesn't screen for patterns like that in any meaningful way. So there's nothing structurally stopping them from doing it repeated. And I just want to say this clearly, drivers. The problem isn't the owners of black op companies. The problem is the model. There are Russian-owned carriers that run clean, professional operations. But I also got to say this. There are some American company carriers running the exact same predatory playbook that this driver described in this email. What matters is the structure, not the passport. But this particular structure right here, escrow heavy, 1099 dependent, high turnover, heavy dispatch pressure, minimum orientation, that does cluster a lot in these Russian carriers. And right now, drivers, you need to know what to look out for before you start signing anything. So drivers, listen to me and listen to me carefully. Before you hand over any escrow, any amount, okay, you need to pull that carrier's safety rating. You need to hop on the FMCSA's website. You need to look at their inspection history. Look at their out of service rate. Look at how long that authority been active. And if the authority has been active less than 2 years old, that is something to pay attention to. Ask for the lease agreement in writing before you hop on that plane, train, or automobile to the orientation. Don't do it during orientation. Before orientation, okay? See, If you ask before orientation and if they won't give it to you until you show up in person, consider that as a big old red flag right there. Listen, I want you to Google these companies, plus Google the reviews of these companies. Also, I need you to look at the complaints. These companies do have their fair share of complaints. Check a lot of truck driving forums, check Glassdoor, check Indeed, hop on Facebook groups, because drivers talk a lot. If you hear the same thing over and over and over again, that's a pattern. If there's a pattern of drivers saying the same thing about escrow, illegal runs, about the attitudes from the Russians, that's a real pattern right there that you need to look out for. And drivers, let me just circle back to the 1 hour orientation, okay? The 1 hour orientation, for me, I would test it. It is something that I would probably use as a screening tool in reverse, right? If a carrier tells you that the orientation is an hour, well, I will probably ask them what is covered. Make them walk you through it. Their answers or their reaction to that question will tell you a lot on how they view drivers who drive their trucks. See, what this driver right here, what he experienced isn't nothing new. No, it isn't. It's nothing new, right? It's just a version of something that's been going on in trucking for decades. The escrow trap, the illegal push, the 1099 liability dodge. None of this shit was invented yesterday. What changed is the scale and speed of things. See, social media made recruitment a hell of a lot easier. Load boards made freight more accessible. And the barrier of getting an authority is low enough that these operations can sign up fast, run you hard for a couple of years, burn through drivers, then they'll get exposed. All they have to do is reset and do it all over again. Let me tell you something.
Wait, let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something. Wait.
Until the regulatory side catches up to that cycle, which honestly, don't hold your breath. The protection has to come from the drivers. It has to come from drivers being informed before they sign anything, before they hand over an escrow, before they're sitting in the truck thousands of miles away from home, wondering how the hell they got in the situation. That's why emails like this one matters. And I do appreciate it. Let me just stop right here.
Hold on.
We are at the Ohio Turnpike. Yes, sir, the Ohio Turnpike. If you guys made it this far in the video, thank you very much. I really do appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you hit all those buttons to show support. Make sure you type in watch to let me and YouTube know that you watched the video, right? And if you want to send me an email like this person right here, hit me up in the Gmail. That's lockoutmenpodcastguest at gmail.com. Now again, like I said, emails like this matters, right? Not to drag carriers, but to put the information out there so that the next driver sees it and think twice before signing on with a Russian company or any carrier for that matter.